Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Patricia Capella, Conference Manager with Clarion Events. Thank you so much for joining us today for our exciting and informative webcast series, Tribal Gaming and the New Normal with Victor Rocha. Today's discussion will focus on the new normal, a world without sports. Before we introduce the presenters, I would like to go over some housekeeping items to keep in mind. All audience members are in listen-only mode, which means you are muted. We will be monitoring audience engagement on the dashboard, and we do encourage you to participate by using the question pane, as there will be time for questions at the end of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded, and you will receive an email with a copy of the recording tomorrow. And this webinar, as well as others in our series, will also be made available on our website, indiangamingtradeshow.com, under the Education tab in the coming week. Now, without further delay, let me introduce Victor, our conference chairman with the National Indian Gaming Association and editor of Pachanga.net. Victor, it's all yours.
Thank you, Patty. Good afternoon. My name is Victor Rocha. I'm the conference chairman of the National Gaming Association. My co-host is Jason Giles. Jason is the executive director of the National Gaming Association, and this is a new normal. Welcome. In today's conversation, we're talking to NBA superstar AC Green and our friend Kresimir Spajic of Hard Rock International about the pandemic shutdown of the world of sports and its effect on tribal gaming. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Jason, good morning, my friend.
Morning.
Hi.
And on behalf of NIGA, Chairman Stevens will be joining us any minute now to say hello to his longtime friend AC and thank AC for all he's done for NIGA over these years and helping us out at events. He's been incredible with his time and just so generous towards NIGA. So thank you, AC.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, Jace.
As always. AC, I think what most people don't know is you have native blood running through your veins. Tell us, man. Tell us about your family.
Now, well, Creek Choctaw really has been a part in a long time history, obviously for me and of my family, and it really comes on my mother's side. We have still quite a few relatives, and I've had a chance to meet cousins and aunties. Some have since passed on, but they're over in Oklahoma right now. They're over in Muskogee, and they are very, very, very cool, practical people that we have more conversation, it seemed like, over the years through telephone. And then when I would go and pass through town on some business of some sort before, obviously, OKC became OKC there. So, but it's just great to really know and tap in and be able to learn a lot of my heritage. And that's been very fascinating for me. And it's been a catalyst for my work inside of Indian country, alongside a lot of you on this screen right here.
Well, like Jason says, thank you for all you've done, and we appreciate the fact that you've loaned your celebrity to us. You know what I mean, and to all that wonderful, that reputation that goes behind all this wonderful work that you've done over the years. So again, man, thank you so much. And personally for me, it's always been such a kick to see you when you come up on my phone and stuff. I want to take a picture of it and put it on Facebook and say, AC Green called me, Kresimir, my friend, also, again, thank you for coming. And also Kresimir is an athlete. Also, Kresimir played a soccer growing up and worked in professional soccer. And you said in Croatia, right, my friend?
Correct.
Now, did I say your last name correctly?
Pretty good.
Spajic. How do I do it correctly?
I'm Croatian, and in my language, you say it's Spajic.
Spajic. Wow. Okay.
It's very complicated.
Brother, whatever you want, I will call you whatever you want. You know what I mean? If that's your name, that's what we'll call it. So anyhow, listen, thanks you guys so much. And as you both know, this has been pretty wild ride. And the reason why we wanted to put this particular webcast together was to talk about what just happened. I mean, never in my wildest imagination would I think there would be a time in our world where we would not have sports. I mean, it's like not having the sunshine one day. You know what I mean? It was like one of the things, and yet there we were. AC as a professional athlete, what was that like, man?
Oh no, you're pretty much hitting it right on the head, because when you you don't have the norm of being able to go to the gym, first of all, as an athlete, okay, and that's like if you're going to practice itself, let alone, you know, if you're going to think you're going to have a game and you're going to be able to play a game like the normal athlete and the mindset would be. And then for the layman, the everyday who want to be athlete or couch athlete, however you categorize it, just being able not to be able to tap into that, and then worst of all, not even being able to see it. That was totally like, whoa, wait a minute. Anywhere in the world, that was like, come on, are you kidding me?
You know, it was just pretty mind blowing. I mean, you know, it's like almost like a science fiction novel, you know, where it was a world without sports, a world without exercise. But you know, from a gaming perspective, you know, I mean, and from, you know, because everyone was shut down, you know, the casinos
Yeah.
were shut down. So because it was part of that norm, you know, it was wild. But then I think the real story here has been really this fascinating tale to watch us, you know, industry trying to get back up on its feet, especially from a professional point of view. Watching, you know, first of all, it's a reminder of how much money is in the sport, you know, and you know, when I was doing my research, it was kind of mind blowing as I started digging deeper and deeper into this thing, and what's been amazing is these sports bubbles. So first we have a world where we have no sports, then you know we slowly get open, as you know, for the tribal casinos. We've been open now for about almost 3 months now, and you know sports is followed behind that, and watching these sputter and starts and stops. But when you start doing the research, it's a lot more complicated than that. Kresimir, how did that affect you from Hard Rock? I mean, what were you guys thinking? You know, obviously, you know, there was all these alternatives in a world without sports. Where did you find sports?
Yeah, look, I think it's when it comes to sports, the problem around sports is that it influences lots of stakeholders. It's not just the gaming business of sports. It's, as AC says, it's professional players, it's teams, it's leagues, it's fans, it's media, it's sponsors. I mean, it's a massive amount of stakeholders involved in this. And as we know, sports is one of those things that unite people. It creates emotions that very few other things can do. You know, music and sports are probably the two things that everybody kind of have a say in it. So from that perspective, is very hard, and this is unprecedented times. Something like this never happened, and basically the whole world stopped. So the first problem was uncertainty, right? How we handle this, what is going to happen next. It's very, very hard to plan when there is no timelines, when things are going to get better. And I think all of these stakeholders, it took us a bit of time to adjust to new normal. Once we accepted the new normal and new standards, and you know, humans are very adaptable creatures, luckily, and we are very creative and innovative and very resilient, I would say. We started doing our business as usual. As you said, first, we opened our casinos, started to bring traffic in. The good positive thing is that online business never actually stopped, right? I mean, online casinos are operating and actually increased their traffic significantly. Unfortunately, opposite happened to sports betting on an online site. There is no live events. There is nothing to bet on. And people are looking for excitement, especially people are looking for a live content. It's very, very hard to bet for something that is going to happen sometimes in the future and you don't know when, right? And that's why all these talks about Belarus soccer league and table tennis in China, you know, popped out because that was the only live events in sports actually happening. So it was definitely a challenging time, a new norm to adopt, and it actually helped us to become more creative, to look within our organizations, try to fix what hasn't been working properly, take a stop and look back and enhance our operations, enhance our product, think about the future offering and how this change in the sports is going to happen. So although it has been negative, I think that for us as an operators and ultimately long-term for consumers, this is going to result with a better experience.
You know, it's been amazing to watch. First of all, Kresimir, how come people in sports betting can't behave themselves? You know, it was really funny to see these ghost games in Eastern Europe. You know, hey, there he is.
There he is.
That's right. Commando Marcos is here. Thank you, Commander, for coming. We really appreciate it. That's right. Chiapas, dude. Chiapas. Wow. Oh, it's Ernie. I'm sorry. I thought it was Commander Marcos from the Chiapas Army. Wow. Hey, Chairman, welcome.
We got to unmute, get that mic on mute. I got to hear this.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. We don't have a mic. Hold on. It's almost. And it says Ricky on the thing. I think if you click it, you can change the name. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There we go.
There you are.
You there?
Almost.
Okay.
How's that? Do you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now. We got you.
Okay, good. Thanks,
We got
Ricky.
you.
So
Chairman, welcome.
I'm here in Oneida, Wisconsin, in home of the best basketball players in history. And I don't want to get started right away on AC because AC is a nice man. I heard he was going to be on today, so I thought I would just, kind of tell everybody a little bit about, how I got to meet him. And
Yes.
of course, we idolized him, because he's Indian. If he played every single game of his NBA just about in his whole career, he still holds the record for the most games played consecutively in the NBA, in the history of NBA, and that's why they call him Iron Man. So that's we're all Iron Man in Indian country. So once he gets over to Indian country, he's just another one of us guys, just a regular dude, But let me tell you just a quick story. Since AC's kind of been in our fold, it was hard to get him in the fold, right? Because you got to go through the agent, and you got to have a couple dollars if you want to hang out with AC Green, guys from
Wow.
Phoenix and Orange County and Staples Center, and so we had to work our way in. But us Indians, we all stick together. Once we get in, then we start working it. So I've been able to. Believe it or not, I get a couple of good, solid trips to Indian country, I just when AC turned to get the paycheck, I shook his hand and gave him a hug and said, "Let all the kids cheer him," and then sent him on his way. So we try to be as strategic as we can, but at the same time, he is a consummate professional, and I'm getting used to every place. I'm usually the guy who gets all the hugs and the pictures and everything, so. I'm walking with AC, I go for the hug and they go right around me and get AC and push me out of the picture and take the picture with him. That's okay though, because, I'm not a former NBA player. I certainly am not as iron as he is. But I do try to be a gentleman. And if there's anything I can say about AC Green, is he is a true gentleman. He's a kind man, and everybody in Indian country knows it. One of the years when we cut the ribbon for the big show, I think we were in Vegas, and it's, hundreds and hundreds of people every place. We had a little princess from California, and I apologize for forgetting her name. I'll make sure I get that to you. She cut the ribbon with us, and then everybody, thousands of people. I mean, we got 5,000 people at the trade show, and maybe closer to 6, and everybody just converges and cut the ribbon, and we lost that poor little girl, got lost in the shuffle, and we start hitting all the trade shows and got all these stars and celebrities, and then when it's all done, they show me a picture, and that little girl is watching all these thousands of people go in, and she's walking hand in hand with AC Green, and I think that's a real tribute to who he is, Iron Man, celebrity, basketball player. He does a little bit of everything. He's a businessman. He's an entrepreneur on the front line with the pandemic. He's just a great person overall. And you know, when it's all done, he's just a regular Joe, just like the rest of us, who cares about people, family, and the world around us. And so I just wanted to say, just kind of start. I could go forever on AC Green, you know. Let me tell one more story, then I'll give it back to you, Victor.
Jason.
I'll chime in where I can, because I could talk about AC forever. But you know, how many people remember Muhammad Ali at the end of his career? Okay, he fought Larry Holmes, and we Muhammad Ali fanatics say he's going to kick it in any round now. And that poor guy's, you know, 11th round, he's sitting on his stool, and we're waiting for Muhammad Ali to come out there and beat up Larry Holmes. It never happened, and they threw in the towel, you know. And so this reminded me of the time when the first time I had this all-star team. It was Randy July, my son Brandon Yellowbird Stephen, who was the vice chairman of the tribe, and AC, I forgot who else. And we went up against that Haskell varsity, and those guys just, they just beat those guys down. You know, I'm watching a legend. I'm watching AC Green, LA Laker, Iron Man, and them Haskell boys that just beat those guys down, including my son. And so, wow. You know, that was something that I had to live with. So I set up a rematch for them the following year. This is at Haskell Indian Nations University. At the graduation, there's all kinds of Indians every place in Lawrence, Kansas. And so the next year, I told AC, we're going to give you one more shot at it, but you got to kick it up, old man. You know, I don't care. Wow. Years old. So here we are. And this is the old Tecumseh gym. If you know Haskell, it's an old gym, small gym. It's a historic gym. And there's a walking thing on top. Everybody looks down. It's a little bitty gym. And everybody's in there. And here comes AC Green. And I said, man, I hope you just hold your own, AC Green. So they go at it. And AC must have been training the whole year. Because here now, he went from that guy sitting on the stool not coming out for the 12th round. He was blocking shots, hitting jump shots, taking the ball up and trying to dunk it. And I mean, they beat those guys by 30 points. And I said, wow, okay, well, you made your point, AC Green. So he redeemed himself, but they're still waiting on the rubber match. The varsity wants another shot at it. But again, the energy that AC Green brings to wherever he goes. Now on the Haskell campus, we lost one of our historic coaches. He coached my wife and all three of my daughters in varsity college basketball. His name was Phil Homeratha. And long before anybody ever heard of AC Green, this guy was known as Iron Man. So AC never had a chance to meet him, but he got to witness his legacy and see some pictures and see his athlete. So and we say it really respectfully and in a good way that when AC comes to Lawrence, Kansas, he's Iron Man too because of Phil Homeratha. And that's again another legacy that we've been able to enjoy. But Mr. AC Green, you know, what you brought to Indian country is amazing. And the young people, the little girl, our princess, and all them kids at Haskell, those Haskell graduates, they couldn't even believe that AC Green walks to campus, you know. And I think you've been to 2 or 3 graduations. So that's one story. But again, I want to thank all of you folks because I know that we're supposed to be here to talk gaming, talk about sports betting, and talk about different things. But you know, I'm a fanatic. I got my LA Laker stuff on here. I got my necklace on. I got my purple shirt on. Well, wow. You know, we got our ups and downs too, you know. So I got my Packer World Championship Packer ring on, but that's another story. Behind me, I've got but you know, I got Kareem and Magic. I got a football signed by Kareem, and I got Rick Hill. I got John Wooden up here. I'll get out and vote, but you know, I don't have a AC Green autograph. Over here, oh, wow. I've got this is my daughter Margaret, and that's her playing days at Haskell Indian Nations University. So I got all kinds of things here. I got my N7 stuff, my Haskell hat, but I don't have an AC Green autograph anyplace.
Wow.
So anyway, the amazing and awesome Rick Hill, the late Rick Hill. Rick passed away in December. Rick was our chairman, and he was the NIGA chairman before me. But Rick was like my big brother, and Rick is the one that talked me in to go to Haskell years ago. And Rick played football at Haskell in the I think in the 70s. So anyway, that's a quick look at my board here, but I'm still trying to, I don't know where you get those AC Green autographs, you know?
Wow.
Maybe down in Orange County or Phoenix, I don't know. So anyway, that's, I'm here to answer any questions or anything like that, but.
You're a sports betting expert. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
But I'm an LA guy, and the relocation story, why there's so many Indians in LA? Because the government sent us to LA, and they promised jobs and opportunity, and those things really never happened. There's so many Indians that came to LA that they bonded together, and they formed Indian leagues, and they had cultural events, they had picnics and powwows, and that's how we hung together in the big city. And there was thousands of Indians, and we stuck together, and that's kind of why there's so many of us Laker fans from all over the country, because I myself was born in LA, so I was a Laker fan before AC Green, I think. Yeah, so
Wow.
but the relocation story is another story. But those old Indian leagues, Indians could talk forever about those. Now they're starting to go away because my dad played at them. He's in the nursing home now. He's 88. My mother they divorced in that era, so my mother went a different path, but she played ball in LA. My last LA story for Victor is
Right.
this is Indian league. Indian, my mother, I was Wilt Chamberlain and Elgin Baylor and Jerry West, and so I went to watch my mom play in the LA Indian League, and these Indian women running up and down the court. And I noticed my mother never shot. And I said, Mom, how come you don't shoot? She said, because we play 6-on-6 and I'm a defender. So she only went halfway. She never went across to the offensive side of the court. It was 6-on-6. That's how the ladies played. So then I never got to see my mom shoot. But the one thing I do remember is she had a piece of cloth and a safety pin, and she would pin it on to whatever T-shirt she was wearing that particular league night. That was her jersey. So that's my mom. So
Yeah,
she's my
and you have a great mom.
Green.
Actually, Chairman, you brought up something really interesting. One of the things that AC and I, when we were talking, AC is besides being a basketball legend, he's an entrepreneur, and he's been working a lot with COVID-19. And working in his lab. About a month ago, AC, I saw an article about you down at Cabazon. What were you doing down there? What were you doing?
Yeah, basically my lab, Capstone Clinical, we test employees. So we'll go out and we'll take our mobile unit and we'll go to the job site, and that's what we're doing down at Cabazon, which was at Fantasy Springs. We were testing all the employees, all 1,200 employees down there. And we still are to this day. So it's been about almost a little bit over a month and a half we've been doing that. And we'll do a nasal swab, as well as we'll do a blood draw, the two different types of testing that we provide. And then we turn the results back in a matter of time. And we've been doing this also at some of our reservations also. We do not only employees, but also everyday people that need the test results. That's what the lack and short is right now, Victor.
That's really amazing. I mean, and actually it's a nice segue back into our conversation about sports betting. With the world shut down in sports, all of a sudden they're trying to get back up, and it's really fascinating how each one has a different approach. And like I said, in my research, it was interesting to see how the NBA is approaching it. And you're looking at the bubbles of like the NBA, the NHL, Major League Soccer, but yet they're not doing the bubble with football and baseball. Why do you think that is? And Kresimir, the question should go to you also. But AC, why do you think that is?
Kresimir, I'll let you go first, and I'll chime in because I know you haven't had a chance to say a lot yet. So, but you're waiting. So go ahead. You go first, and I'll follow you up.
No worries.
Great.
I mean, look, every league needs to make their own calls. There is no one way to handle this. And looking at some other countries and some other leagues, I think everybody was evaluating what's the best way to do it. Most of the leagues globally, I'm talking, decided to do the finals of the competition kind of in a homogeneous way. Isolate one location, bring the teams in, isolate the people, isolate the support teams, and in such a way basically minimize the potential exposure to COVID. Some other leagues decided to play a regular season. What's kind of to be concluded is there is not one way to handle this. Everybody needs to approach it from their point of view and specificities of their own sport. What's definitely true is that everything has changed. I mean, look at the schedules, when the league starts, when the league finishes, how many games league has, when the games are played. All of this is influencing everybody. It influences what I said again, all the stakeholders. Media needs to adjust their media schedules and when it will be the broadcasting of the events. This influences their TV ratings. At the same time, this influences the advertisers. The sponsors need to adjust their strategy because now they're having less exposure than they had before, and so on and so forth. When it comes to the gaming, and especially for sports betting, look, it's very difficult for us. It's very difficult to plan because you don't know what is gonna happen tomorrow. AC Green can kind of explain that part, but it's very different to play in front of the full stadia, especially a home game, and on empty stadia, maybe on a court that you never played. I mean, this influences players differently. Their performance might be different. And we have all of these basically bookies and traders helping us to set up the pricing and decide which team is going to win, who is going to score the most points, and so on and so forth. So there is much more tedious work at this point of time. There is much more supervision for us, and we can actually expect a high hold volatility at the moment. So it's definitely difficult for us. When it comes to the leagues, and to conclude, leagues decided to go different ways. Look at the college football. Two leagues already announced that they are postponing the season. NFL is continuing as it's planned. NBA decided to do kind of closed format. I mean, there is not unique way to approach. This is unprecedented. It's first time. And, you know, we are just going to have to learn on our mistakes or whatever we do now. Probably for the next season, if these things continues, we are going to have much clearer picture how to handle this, and it will be different. But for now, it's just the trials and errors. AC, please add to this.
No,
and
you're right on point. You really, really are. I mean, because they're like we say in so many different ways. You don't go to school for something like this. You know, maybe if you're in medicine and in that industry itself, you try and go and learn the history and the study and how to prepare and thinking about something of this nature, something like this, an infectious disease taking place. But this is something beyond, I think, beyond our imagination. And so for us inside the NBA, and knowing Adam Silver and me being one of our ambassadors for 25 years now, and traveling the world on behalf of the NBA, we have looked at this as almost, let's see what everyone else is doing, even though we're super innovative. Okay, we know we want to be cutting edge and pioneers in so many other ways, and we've shown that over the years. But at the same time, what's going to really work best, you know, for us and our guys and our brand line of business itself, and that was that isolation method. That's what, you know, that's what we're doing. That's what we tried to see how that was going to actually play itself out. But you know, all the sports and all the leagues that we're talking about, and even sports betting itself, the common denominator, and I always find it so fascinating, is that we're still talking about humans. Okay, right. Humans. These are people, guys and girls. All right. And every function that goes on, from the social, mental, physical, emotional, every aspect. So therefore, how can they now adapt to whatever that environment you're placing them inside of? And then will they conform? Okay, and now you're starting to, and that's why you see some who said, you know, I don't want to be in that bubble. You know, I don't want to be in that situation. I want to be outside of, or you see the defectors who go in, and then they take that little mysterious trip and they go somewhere, and then they have to go through quarantine again. You know, so it's a little bit of everything, but we are dealing with human guys and girls, and it's a challenge for each and every one of them.
You know, let me guys give you a little statistics. So the NBA bubble in Orlando, and Jason, I'll give you this because I know you have a lot of questions. But so the NBA bubble in Orlando is 32 teams, 1,500 people, 4 hotels, 3 arenas, $170 million. Now, Silver said, listen, I would like to bring all 40 teams, but we couldn't. And he put them in a bubble, hermetically sealed them. And it's been really fascinating to watch. Where opposed to football, you know, you have, they're talking about doing a game in Arrowhead Stadium. It's a stadium that holds, hold on, I got it right here, 76,000 people, and they want to do it with an attendance of 15,000 people. Now, that's talking about doing social distancing and putting 15,000 people. Now, AC, as an athlete, does it really make a difference if there's people in the stands and stuff like that? I mean, you know, if you're going to play the games, is it really that important?
But no, the end result is no. And I laugh because I thought about it, and you know, it's really a practice session. At the end of the day, this is mentally you just adapt your mind and wrap it around that this is another practice session that is super intense because you're actually competing against someone. So do you absolutely have to have the fans, or do you get your mojo only when fans are there and you can go, you know, go into the crowd and say something to somebody and just high five or whatever? No, you as a player, you can definitely still get at ultimate level, even without the fans being there. But we're just so used to having them there. It's like, oh my gosh, no one.
You know, it has been funny to watch some of these athletes that are saying, no, I'm not going to play if there's no fans. It's like, I'm not playing at all. And it just kind of seems a little petulant. But, you know, I mean, and listen, you know, in a lot of ways, the industry is looking at the same questions that the gaming industry is like, we're used to having these spaces filled with people. You know, these stadiums, these casinos, the casino floor, the special event space. As a matter of fact, next week we're going to be talking about this very issue on you know, boxing, conferences, live entertainment, and all that stuff for cons. But and how that affects casinos. But you know, with this conversation, I think that's been very fascinating to watch. But you know, it seems to me that the NBA is doing the hard work, and it's a very difficult decision to put, you know, 1,500 people inside a bubble. But look at it, you know, it's working up in Canada, it's working up, and that's where I believe Major League Soccer is up in Canada also. So, you know, it's really brought up some a whole bunch of interesting problems, wouldn't you say? So, Jason, I apologize. Did I cut you off, my friend?
Well, Kresimir, how are sports books adjusting? You know, they have to set odds on these games, and we're in an unprecedented situation now where home court advantage, I mean, there basically is none. Right. I think we saw that twice yesterday. You know, the Lakers and Milwaukee both could have used some home court cheering there. Well, come on, sorry, Ernie, but
can we put where's that mute button at? Where's that mute button?
Yeah, where's the button at?
Kresimir, if you're a sports book, a sports operation, how do you account for all of this new? It's really a much more pure form of the game where you take out a lot of the home field advantages. How are sports books dealing with this during this time? It seems like there might be a big opportunity for sharp bettors to make some money here.
There is, and that's what I stated at the beginning, right? The hold will be volatile, which means that you're gonna get hit on many of the games. It's a new circumstances. Sportsbook operate in a couple of models. Lots of this is done manually, but actually more and more is done through the algorithm, which takes a certain set of the data and then based on, you know, different variables and based on the action on one or another side, spit a certain price, right? And we'll just have to adapt and adjust to this. And you don't know. Also the schedules, right? It's very different playing games every 2 days. It's very different play games once a week. It's all of these influences. I think also talking to AC, right? He will know from a conditioning perspective. I mean, even from a player preparation, you're going to have to adjust and adapt. So to tell you, we are expecting high volatility. We are already seeing this, right? Like, at least in a couple of markets, I don't want to name which one, hold this month has been extremely volatile, even in some of the operators negative. So books have been losing the money because of this unpredictability. And then you add, what happens if, you know, whole team gets infected, or 7 players gets infected, and because of this the whole team has to be quarantined, the whole schedule changes. So look, the bottom line, we are gonna do our best as everybody else. We keep adjusting, we keep adapting. We completely recreated our schedule. I mean, we usually know that when it comes to sports betting, the season is late August to March Madness, right? This is where the top season is. Now it started a bit earlier because all the league has to readjust and readapt their schedule, and started their activities in July and August. So all of this is influencing us. And as I said, we are going to probably a bit smarter next year than we are right now. Now we are in a survival and adjustment mode.
Kresimir, one of the things that's been interesting is again, as I've done my research, is actually to see how well the sports books have been doing. Online gaming obviously has been there's been a real big push, but looking at the numbers in New Jersey, can you tell us a little bit about what's been going down in like New Jersey in the market?
Oh, look, sure. I mean, the low point was definitely April, right? I mean, that was the low point. April and May was the lowest point of sports betting, and May as well. And then we started picking up from June. Some of the international leagues has opened up, some sports have opened up, and actually looking at everything is live now beside the football. Right? If you look at this, everything is live beside the football starting in August. So we had to go through that process. There is a huge amount of sports fans. There is a decent amount of sports bettors which constantly look for an action. I mean, sports betting is bringing a lot of sports. It's actually engaging the fans, right? There is a higher engagement. They are more motivated. And they consume more sports when they bet, right? Some people bet $10 with their friends. Some people bet $10 and make it just more exciting. So lack of that was really problematic for sports. So what we're noticing, that even in a period where there is no sports, people are looking to do something related to sports, either to watch it or to bet on it. I think actually for our business, this is a good thing because it expanded the options for bettors. Because majority of the focus is, of course, on all four big US sports. To be kind of even more precise, it's all about football and basketball. The third sport is baseball, and then it goes to the hockey and some others, right? So this is expanding the interest of the fans and opportunities to the fans. We had to adapt and adjust to this, offer Belarusian soccer and table tennis and esports, which has been a buzzword lately. But ultimately now when the sports has resumed, we are seeing people getting back to the old, right? NBA is trending the most right now, followed by MLB and NHL, and everything is in prep of the football right now, when the football season is gonna start, and so on and so forth. I don't know if does this answer your questions, but it's just the new reality. We had to adapt to this, but I actually expect us to go out stronger out of this, all of us, because if we could have maintained sports live through this difficult period of time, hopefully we are going to either find a vaccine or one or another way sustain this virus. Imagine what we can do when we go back, when we are able to operate and live in these tough circumstances.
Well, it's what's been interesting if you look at the New Jersey numbers is now that the casinos are open, that the online gaming is still doing very well. People are still saying, you know what, I like this. I think the pandemic has really forced people to do things, outside their normal routine. And, part of the social aspect of gaming is come down to the casino and having all that. So I think that's been really interesting to see. And obviously, predictably, that these numbers would be up. AC. So in sports, so how like Kresimir said, everyone's waiting for the NFL. Are you waiting for the NFL? Are you waiting for this football season too?
Well, as a fan, absolutely, I am. But I think we're going to see, we're seeing a smorgasbord of the model that they're going to have to choose before. You know, it's a menu, a drop-down menu, and it's going to be a combination of one or the other, or a little bit of this and that. That's going to make it what that whole look is going to be like for the football itself. I just left Las Vegas just last night, and just knowing there still is a little buzz, because not as many people, but there still is a little buzz about this upcoming season and what they're anticipating once again overall. So it's exciting. I am looking forward to it. But I actually, you know what? And one thing that Kresimir did mention, I'm seeing the rise and the excitement, honestly, inside of esports itself, and what's really happening in that sector also, because now there's hundreds of millions that's being flown and gone and through there, and it's only escalating from here.
You know, that's a really good question, and that is one of my questions that I have here. And let me take that back to you, Kresimir. Is esports media starting to meet its promise? Is this the time that we've all been waiting for esports to come back and save the industry?
Oh, look, I don't think that esports is going to save the industry. Esports is definitely. Sorry?
I was being facetious, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, esports has been a buzzword for a long time. I heard many of such buzzwords or topic in the past. Esports is important. It has huge participation, especially in Asia. It's having a decent followership in United States, and it will be an important part of the overall mix, right? If you look at the rest of the world, and especially the Europe, which is the most mature sports betting market, esports makes approximately 2% of all the turnover in sports betting. So 1 to 2%. At maturity in United States, you're expecting that it will also do between 1% up to 5% of overall turnover, right? This is how we are looking into this. I'm closer to believe it will be closer to 1 than to 5. There is still lots of issues with that sport. The main issue is integrity issue. We are talking and listening about lots of match fixing. There is no one unified organizations. There are multiple leagues that kind of organize their tournaments. From a legality perspective, if you look, I believe that only 8 or 9 states out of 23 states which legalize sports betting allow actually betting on esports, and many of them are not allowing in-play betting on esports, which is actually a big driver because it's very connected with the streaming the game and watching the game and having an impulsive bet following what is going to happen next. So look, once all of these circumstances are going to be resolved, I think that the esports are going to pick up. Right now, esports, in my opinion, is more like an event-based business and also like a team ownership business and professional player business, while betting part of this is still behind because of these reasons which I just listed.
Well, you know, as you know, in New Jersey, when they've approved the licensing for esports, that's always for special events too. You know what I mean? And you know, one of the interesting things too in those doing was that you know, a lot of the activity is on Counter-Strike. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and that's like a big majority of it is Counter-Strike and Fortnite and these games. And so you know. And it's really interesting because it seems to me culturally, and the excitement is like, you know, watching two guys play Madden football or basketball, that is like real fun to watch. But you know, the real activity is on Counter-Strike and stuff like that. So it's really interesting for me. I don't know if that's a maturation, if it's just part of, you know, growing up in the industry and stuff like that. But I find that fascinating, you know.
You know,
it's just about the participation, right? I mean, Counter-Strike is one of the top late games, right? The number of participants playing these games is much higher than people playing NBA or NFL or FIFA, right? So that's the main reason when it comes to this. Also of excitement of how the games develop and what's happening at the game. The other games are much slower than you know. So these are, I think, the differences. But AC, you wanted to add something on this, right?
Yeah, well, just touching base that there is a groundswell, undercurrent in this sector. I really feel, because we do have, and I, as you all know, work so much on the youth side of things, but we have those youth who are playing constantly at night, you know, throughout the day, They're playing and they're just having fun with their consoles or having fun with their smartphones and making things happen that way. But there's a model that's really coming now that's creating opportunity to make money as you play. Okay, and it's at a smaller and lower level. We're not talking trillions of dollars in that sense, but at the same time, the model and the trend and this paradigm shift is starting to occur. And you never know where this is going to go at, because even with Spajic Global, this is something that we're really focused on, because we have a number of schools throughout the United States and districts throughout the United States that are seeing all these kids. They're still going to play, and when the economy's down, esports continues to go up. Okay, when the economy's up, esports continues. The kids are going to keep playing no matter what. It's recession proof from that standpoint. And now you have a pandemic comes, home-based business or home more. What happens? They're playing even more, and there's just a rise there. But this model now being a skills-based, and then you bring an economical opportunity side with it. There's a trend that's getting ready to start to swell up, and that's sort of something I'm looking at and seeing practically within our Spajic Global too.
Wow. Well, you know what I mean. The potential of sports betting is always been there, and I think we obviously know it's just a matter of time before it takes its rightful place globally and stuff like that. Jason, what do you got for me, man? What else? What other questions you got?
Well, right now, Kresimir and AC, right now in Indian country, the big question is, should tribes be investing in sports betting, sports gambling? There's not a uniform system for each tribe to implement that, but some tribes have jumped in with 2 feet. And right now we have this pandemic. It's very hard to make that kind of business decision. But let me start with you, Kresimir, playing off a little what AC saw at Las Vegas. Once we get a vaccine, once we get back to normal, do you find that are you planning for an uptick in pent-up demand from sports betting? And if you're already established, if you do it now, you might be in a good position to ride that wave of uptick. Is that what you guys are thinking is going to happen? Or is it already back because a lot of the European football leagues have already been back a while, tennis has been going on? Where are we with that at that stage of development?
Sure, I think that we can look at this from 2 perspectives. First, when it comes to pent-up demand, it's definitely present. We've seen growth from June to July of 90% in New Jersey when it comes to handle. Already 90%, right? We are seeing a similar increase again from July to August. So demand is there, leagues are back. There is a huge amount of sports betting fans and followers, which are either occasional bettors or hardcore bettors, and they just want to participate. I'm not worried about the demand. The thing is that majority of that demand currently is happening online, right? We know that 90% of the handle in New Jersey, which is the most mature market after Nevada, is happening online. Only 10% is happening retail. And the main reason is that retail access is limited, right? I mean, in Europe, especially in United Kingdom and some other places, you have a concept of the corner shops, right? You have thousands of the corner shops per country. In US, retail is mostly connected with casinos, which is a good thing in a way as well. So retail is always going to be a small component. It will be probably around 10 to 20% of the overall handle, depending on the amount of availability in the state. This is good for casinos specifically, and specifically for Indian country, because they have an opportunity to create the destinations. There are 2 types of the concept of the retail sportsbook. One is just an amenity to your casino. You create few windows, people can bet, and that's it. And another is creating a true a sports bar experience, which as a part has experience of viewership, experience of interacting, and experience ultimately of betting, which could attract a new player, a new footfall casino. And then there is a spillover of that footfall to other basically offerings within your casino, mainly food and beverage, but also table games play. So I think there is lots of benefits for sports betting. It's something which is very socially acceptable. It's something that creates a lot of emotions and can help drive other parts of our business and enhance your existing business. So far, Indian country, in my opinion, and talking to everyone, has been somewhat divided. There is a certain tribes and certain supporters of expansion of the sports betting. There are some tribes and some casinos which are not. I think that what it requires is more educations, which you guys are doing an excellent job, especially through your conferences that you're organizing. Unfortunately, we are a bit now blocked when it comes to this. Hopefully this is going to continue, and as you are doing, Victor, and everybody else, we can do these webinars, online webinars to help and open out understanding and opportunities which comes with that. The second question, when it comes to online specifically, I think that the tribe can leverage in two ways. Some tribes have enough expertise and capital to actually do it on their own. If they don't have, they have an opportunity to partner and make money through the different type of partnership with an online operators which are more experienced in such a way, make an additional money, which then they can invest the best way as they see it. This is at least how I see the situation and how we are looking at this both from a Seminole perspective and from a Hard Rock International perspective.
You know, Kresimir, I think the pandemic has forced the tribes to take a second look at sports betting. 3 weeks ago, we had Chairman Newland from Bay Mills talking about his deal with DraftKings and stuff. And so, you know, it was really nice to be able to talk about mobile gaming and talk about sports betting and not have to really parse our words, and because these guys were in it 100%. So that was actually a really good conversation. And what we're doing here, we feel is part of that job, is educating the tribes on what's working and what's not working. And I think what's really important right now has been how sports betting is playing across the country, how online gaming is still bringing in tax revenue and to the bottom line. And, you know, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about right here, is also, you know, with the world without sports, it really does affect tribes. And it isn't just about sports betting. It's about Monday Night Football. It's about restaurants. It's about Thursdays. It's about Sundays. It's about the effect of it. So, you know, it affects our bottom lines in 10 different ways. You know, it does in different ways. And so, you know, the purpose of this conversation was to tell everyone that, you know, take a second look. You know, let's you know, in California, we hopefully will have some good news about the referendum, which would bring sports betting to California in 2022, I believe, is what they said. Chairman Stevens, I have a question for you. You know, one of the things that I find really fascinating is the connection between your tribe and the Green Bay Packers. You know, I don't know if there's any other stadium in the country or the world even that has a special entrance for Native Americans. You know what I mean? So how do you think this is going to affect your people? You know what I mean? And it is amazing. You guys have your own entrance in Lambeau Field. Am I correct?
It's the Oneida Nation Gate, so it's an entrance for everybody. But when you walk up into the most historic stadium in the whole world, and you walk up those steps,
that Coliseum is nothing in Rome. Yeah, forget that.
Yeah. You know, it's right up there, though. It's right up there. But they don't have 13 world championships. That's, you know, there's a difference there.
No,
they
don't.
like 4 or 5 teams in LA, and they don't even have. Well, I'm not going to get started.
Get started. I like it when you get started.
It is because, you know what, when you ride by, and most people, when they come to Green Bay, that's one of the places they go. I think they like to go to our casino too, at least I hope so. But when you drive by outside one of the most historic stadiums in the world, see right there, that's how huge it is, Oneida Nation Gate.
The pearly gates, wow. The pearly gates, there they are.
Yeah. It's amazing. So we're proud, but it does a lot for the kids that go to school here, for the young ones, and for, I'll give you an example. And I'm always coming back to basketball, but my wife threw me in the car and took me to some place called Hopkins, Minnesota, which is right near one of my other favorite casinos, and to watch my granddaughter play ball. She's 14 years old and had 3 young girls on this team from Northeast Wisconsin called the Purple Aces. And they went up there and they're playing with the 3 Indian girls with all these other girls from different communities. And I got to watch some of the finest basketball I've ever seen. They're all going to be sophomores this year. And they won this thing. It's called the Meltown AAU National Championships. So to watch these young ladies play, to see them organized, the poise, the discipline, the everything, it's just amazing. So, you know, those kids are interacting and they're all proud to be, you know, from this neighborhood. And then those Indian kids can be proud to look up and see the Oneida Nation Gate. So I think America, in spite of some of the stuff you see on TV and on some of the news station, America continues to grow up and get stronger and be united in a place of a good, multiple, strong-hearted colors. And so we're excited about that. We're excited to see the Indian girls running with a star-studded team from Northeast Wisconsin. So just one great example.
Well, you know, Chairman, I think I just, you know, I see the connection that like the Seattle Seahawks have with the tribes up there, and I think that's a real special connection. But, you know, I've never seen that type of connection between a special a sports league and a Native American community like that. Although, you know, we know and some of the work Kareem does and stuff like that. But I always thought that was special and unique and stuff like that. So I know up in Wisconsin how you guys are pretty fanatical about football. So I'm sure you're going to be waiting for to be walking through that gate again. You know, before you know, we're pretty close to the end of our time.
Victor, could I add one thing real quick on football?
Absolutely.
You know, my friend, even though he took a shot at me, my colleague Jason Giles, Jason has some connections, and we had to come back to him. But Jason is a former offensive lineman for West Point Academy, and is a retired Marine captain and has a law degree from University of Wisconsin. So, you know,
just mess with the bell curve for the rest of us, man.
Yeah. So I just want to throw that in there and pay it back with a little bit of a nice plug for you, but I'll pay it back to those other ones later because they're true. Yeah, if we could get a couple calls in the bubble, we'd be all right.
Right. I dinged him on the Lakers and the Bucks. I lumped him in together with him, even though I know he's a Laker fan. So.
Wow. Wow, you guys. Well, listen. Yeah.
One last thing, Kresimir, in DC, I was in the office this week, and the DC Sportsbook opened up. You mentioned retail sports books, and that's what DC has. And I literally drove by there. I was fully intending to put a bet in on the Phoenix Suns. They were 7-0 in the bubble, and they had one game left. I knew they were going to win. And the place was packed. There was a line out the door with everyone with their mask on. And I was like, I'm not going to get COVID to put a bet in. So I drove off. But I was shocked.
Wow.
I was shocked how full this little retail shop, and it's attached to the Washington Wizards Stadium, this sports book. And it's fully functioning now. They're taking bets. And I just couldn't believe the line I saw in there for people just to put these stand-up bets in. I think it's, you know, it's pretty much one of a kind, Victor, in the United States, in the sense that it's not attached to a casino. So, you know, this type of model, you know, hey, it works for the lotteries. You know, in America, there's a lottery store on every corner, mostly in a convenience store. But you know, back to the demand and what AC saw in Vegas, I think there's a lot of people out there that are like these sort of retail sports book, and DC, to its credit, it's a year late, but it's up and running. So I was shocked at that.
And I wanted to, if I could thank all you guys, because I know that, you know, you mentioned about the, you know, Indian country may be divided. I think we're just trying to understand more, and the more we have presentations like today, and the more we interact and talk about this, the stronger we're going to get on it. And, you know, when every one of those sovereign governments make their own choices, and so they kind of look to all of us to see where the path is going and where's the best direction to go. And I think that the presentation today and some more to come, and we really can help in your country cut the path, because, you know, we really are excited about, you know, trying to get back on our feet outside of this pandemic and getting stronger and rebuilding our communities and our enterprises. And when we do that, we want to be able to do that to be able to provide the best entertainment venues in our industry. So it's going to take this hard work and this kind of work. And this is what we do now, the new normal. So we appreciate all you guys getting on today. We appreciate what you all can do to help us continue to work our way carefully and concisely and respectfully to this new normal. So we count on all you guys for your leadership.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, yeah, and actually, Kresimir, you know, going to Jason's question before we cut it loose, you know, Ted Leonis, the guy who owns the Washington Wizards, you know, his approach to sportsmen, I think, was very, very close to what the tribes were doing. You know, his idea was putting the sports book on the property, and you know, his quote was about, you know, I have this asset that's only good. I'm working 1 day a week on Sunday or whatever. You know, why not have it work the rest of the days of the week? So his master plan was to build a place with entertainment and restaurants and stuff like that. So, you know, that's very much, he's very tribal in his thinking about that, and getting the people down to the facility. And, you know, obviously there will be mobile and stuff like that, but, you know, he has a tribal mentality, I like to say.
Don't all Greeks?
Well, gentlemen, Chairman Stevens, my dear friend Kresimir, as always, I told you I'd call you brilliant, and I did. AC Green, thank you so much, my friend, and my co-hosts, they're always brilliant. Jason Giles, thank you very much. Also, like to thank Mary Charlotte for helping produce this, and also I'd like a special note, Patty Capello, the person you heard at the very front. This is her last show. She's leaving us to. She's doing a career change, and she's going to go into medicine, and she's going to be a nurse. So she's amazing. Patty, we love you. Thank you so much for all your help.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you so much.
You're the best, my dear. And so everyone, thank you very much. And again, next week we'll be out at the same time. We'll be talking about concerts and special events and casinos and stuff like that. So thanks, everyone. Talk to you next week. Thank you, my guests. Thank you, my hosts.
Thank you, Victor. Everybody, stay safe.
Thank you, guys. Excellent.
Barry Holmes.